also saw the leader of the NDP, who is also part of Canada's coalition government, Jagmeet Singh, look me in the eye, and he did that to me. And I also did that back. Mr. Singh and Mr. Trudeau,
Yes. Resign!
you do not speak for Canadians. I promise you, look into my eyes again, and you can see it in the videos. I know I put fear in your eyes.
Yes.
You bullied our blue-collar truckers.
Yes.
But this white-collar guy is going to make sure you all eat your words.
Yes.
So we are in a very precarious position in this country. We need political change, but we also need the resolve to resist.
Millennial, we're just about to begin the march. Because of the counter-protest, we have rearranged the schedule to have the speakers after the march.
Well, a little bit there at the beginning from a huge, a monumental, a gargantuan date in Canadian history, September 20th, 2023. Do I look a little tired? Well, I've been up since 5 and I've been covering the million-person march, otherwise known as the hashtag 1 million march for children. And it has been a huge success, not just here in Ottawa, where I estimate about 10,000 people were there at the peak for the actual march, which occurred about 11:20, 11:30. People began to leave via East Block and Parliament Hill and went to Wellington and then down Elgin Street. It was a huge success. Now, there have been marches across Canada today. Some of them were very exciting, to put it mildly. There were fights at some of these events. At the event today, one, I understand it was an adolescent, stomped on the gay pride parade and police arrested him, presumably for a hate crime. I'm not sure, but I do understand that this individual was released and the charges were dropped. The police were a little trigger happy today. I don't mean that literally. No, they did not reach for their guns, but they were a little bit tense. In fact, they even had the horses ready to go. It's like they were anticipating violence. And why? We suspect that the counter-protest that erupted was very much known to them and that the police shared intelligence with them about our event with these counter-protesters. Now, of course, this event today, this protest was all about SOGI, which is the sexual orientation, gender ideology in the schools. It's the obsession with sex, sexual orientation, gender ideology, suggesting there's gender dysphoria amongst 6-year-olds, suggesting that there's a need to change pronouns, that children should be able to do so and to change their gender without their parents not only knowing about it, but not providing their permission. And this is, of course, unacceptable. And this is what this march today was all about, is saying enough is enough. Leave our kids alone. Leave the 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 kids alone. Is the chant by the parents who were there today. And I tell you, there was a counter protest. There were perhaps 1,000 people. It was well orchestrated, though. because, as I spoke about the other day, on a September 15th Zoom call, the president of the Ontario Federation of Labor got together a bunch of other union honchos, largely from the public sector, and declared her desire to thwart, to stop, to disrupt this million-person march in Ottawa and presumably other cities. But she focused on Ottawa, and she said that she was going to do whatever she could. And the other people on the line talked about intimidation tactics, getting license plate numbers, using activists. Did they mean Antifa? Perhaps. I don't know if Antifa was out in strength today. They might have been in other cities. The protest in Ottawa was completely peaceful, except there was an altercation between our organizers, Kamel El-Cheikh, who you have seen me interview on 2 occasions, and we have spoken about this million-person march at length for the last 2 months. It's been an intense preparation and planning with Kamel and others. It's largely been a project of Canada's Muslim community, and I applaud them for the work and commitment they put into this. It came to fruition today, but it was a largely peaceful protest today. The exception, I say, and I say this half jokingly, Kamel got into a slight altercation with the other coalition leader of the Trudeau government, NDP leader Jagmeet Singh, who, when he confronted Kamel, and he put his 2 fingers at his eye and pointed them back. Now, I assume this is some kind of inappropriate gesture. Certainly, it looks like the evil eye to me, but it's not a polite gesture. So Kamel just stared him down. What goes to show you how immature Jagmeet Singh is. I mean, he's basically a child playing politics, but he's a jacuzzi Marxist to begin with. He's a socialist who has always made good money, comes from a wealthy family. He's a lawyer before he got into politics, drives a BMW, very much hangs around with the elites. He's one of them. Do you think he really understands the working class? I tell you, if he sees a blue-collar guy in the street, he'd probably walk across the street not to run into him, so this worker could not ask him uncomfortable questions. Because you think Jagmeet Singh really cares about the working class problems? He has no idea what they are. He's never been really confronted with them, and he doesn't want to be. He doesn't think these people are worthwhile. He thinks they're his inferiors. He's the elite. They're just the riffraff. He showed that during the Freedom Convoy protest. He couldn't stand those people because they were blue-collar truckers who had real jobs. Jagmeet Singh's never had a real job. And he has no idea what their trials and tribulations are, what their challenges are, as Justin Trudeau would like to say, or how life really operates for them. And he doesn't care. You know, George Orwell used to call these people parlor Bolsheviks. It's the same thing. Jacuzzi Marxist, parlor Bolshevik. It's an elite who likes to talk the language of the far left, who likes to talk the language of revolution, but they have no interest in any of this because they're part of the establishment. Very, very much so. So Jagmeet was out there today showing his allegiance to the LGBTQ community and showing how much he supports gender ideology in the school and how little he supports parental rights and how he thinks the state should be raising your children, not parents. That's what he's all about. And that's what Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is all about. It's about the state controlling your children. I made this point repeatedly today when I had the opportunity to speak to the crowd. I said, how dare the left, the LGBTQ extremists, call you fascist because you believe parents should have some rights in raising their children. A fascist state doesn't think parents should have any rights raising their children. They think it should all be done by the state. and that you relinquish your rights to the state in any fascist, corporatist state. So, once again, the left, the extreme left, as the extreme right always does, they project their deficiencies, their problems, their issues on their opponents. They're the ones acting like fascists, suggesting parents should not be protesting their complete lack of rights in raising their children. They are the fascists. They are the fascists. Yes, and they're the hateful ones too. The parents I saw today love their children. They're doing this out of love for their families, for their children, for the culture, for the religious values they grew up in, and they want to inculcate to their children. And the state is saying no. The state is saying, we will define religion for you. We will define what your religion actually teaches. And a number of speakers today actually addressed this. They said, stop telling us what our religion is all about. In fact, the Muslim speaker said that today. He said, I'm tired of the Trudeau government telling me how I should interpret the Quran, how I should be a good Muslim. And Christians have been saying that for years too. Stop telling me what my Christianity is about. Trudeau's a smorgasbord Catholic. He picks and chooses from the Catholic doctrines what he wants to follow and what he rejects. He rejects a lot of Catholic doctrines, especially anything pertaining to abortion. For Justin Trudeau, abortion is just another means of birth control, and life of the unborn is nothing, meaningless to this man. Go ahead, abort the child. It's not a human being. That's how Justin Trudeau feels. And he doesn't care about parental rights either. He thinks if you have any desire to raise your children with the values that you have, you're on the far right. Yes. Well, Justin Trudeau's on the far left. And I tell you, today was a turning point because all faiths, a lot of people from different political parties, including, I think, a lot of liberals who remember the party prior to it being destroyed by people like Justin Trudeau, all came out and said, we want normalcy in the schools. We want healthy policies. Let's start teaching our children how to read and write so children don't think that we fought with the Germans in the Second World War. Children don't even know their history. They think Canada was on the Axis side, half of them. They don't know their history because the teachers aren't teaching it. They're so busy teaching gender ideology and sexual issues, shoving pornography down the children's noses and throats. That's what they're teaching. So we have children, teenagers, leaving school who are basically illiterate, who know very little, except they know a lot about gender ideology, and they're obsessed with their own sexuality. They're obsessed with perhaps they're the wrong gender. So we said no today. A lot of people said no. As a journalist, I attended this. I participated in it because I think it's time for journalists to say enough is enough of this nonsense. Journalists all agreed on one thing during the Second World War. The Axis powers were wrong. The Allied powers were right. And if you were on the wrong side during that, basically, people said you were on the wrong side of history, and you were probably a traitor to your own country. So it's time for journalists to take the side of the right, to take the side of what is honest, to take the side of what is healthy for children, and to say no more chemical castration, no more ridiculous gender dysphoria, inflation. There's 3 out of 10 children in elementary school are not going through gender dysphoria. Any honest professional doctor or psychologist could tell you that. It's all manufactured so Justin Trudeau and the provincial premiers who back him can continue with their identity politics game, and they continue to subdivide us and divide us. Divide Canadians. What we did today, we brought Muslims, Christians, Jews, Sikhs, Hindus, and I'm sure others I haven't mentioned, together to fight for normalcy and health. And we had all kinds of different viewpoints, but we all agreed that it was time to say enough of this nonsense in the schools. Time to take it back. Time to take our schools back. Time to take our children back. Time to take our country back. That's what happened today. I applaud what all of the people who worked on this. But I really applaud the work of Canada's Muslim community. And I think they did a bang-up job of preparation and planning. And it was a huge success today, all across this great land. And as Kamel said today, this is going to be an annual event. It started today.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're just starting, and September 20th, moving forward, which is 9/20, will be Families and Kids Liberation Day.
The work continues, and we will continue to stop the long arm of Trudeau's government from interfering in the lives of individuals who just want the state to leave them and their families alone. A lot of folks came out today. I want to congratulate and thank Maxime Bernier, my old friend, former Foreign Affairs and Industry Minister in the Conservative Stephen Harper government. He was a great member of Parliament. He should be back fighting because he's one of the few politicians who showed up today. Everybody was invited. Maxime Bernier showed up to support these issues because he's been courageous in defending parental rights and attacking gender ideology. Rod Taylor from the Christian Heritage Party was also there. Thank you for being there, Rod. Because Justin Trudeau didn't come. Jagmeet Singh came, but of course he was with the wrong side. Pierre Poilievre, the Conservative leader, should have been there. I know he's struggling with these issues. I know he's grappling with this right now. I know he's counting the cost of supporting the right side here. And I will give him the benefit of the doubt today. But he needs to eventually take a stand. And he has to a certain degree. But it would have been nice to see him today because he will certainly be the next Prime Minister of Canada if the polls remain as they are today. And I hope he's a Prime Minister who respects parents and common sense. He seems to be. But I'm going to demand action and not just words because I don't put any politician on a pedestal. They will always disappoint you when it comes to re-election. We got to keep them accountable, and that's what this program is all about. Thank you for watching today. If you were part of the million-person march, thank you for coming out today and supporting common sense policies and parental rights and protecting our children. They were the essence of what happened today, and that's was so important. Keep on watching Krayden's Right and stand on guard. You know, I've seen so many people use that phrase lately. I saw it throughout today. And Tamara Leach the other day signed an automobile with Stand on Guard for Thee. So a lot of people are seeing Stand on Guard as a motto to live by, to protect this country, to keep it great. And I've said enough for today. Keep watching this station. Keep watching this channel. Thank you for your support. Ring that bell. Support this station. And financially support us if you can. I would appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And those of you who are doing so right now, who have done so, thank you. And all the people who came up to me today and say, I saw you on your station, or I saw you on Redacted, which I'm on quite frequently now. Thanks for watching. And thanks for coming up and saying that. You don't know how good that made me feel. that I'm getting across the message I want, and people are watching and listening and appreciating that I'm doing what I'm doing. It means so much. Thanks again for watching today. We'll be back again tomorrow with more about the Tamara Leach, Chris Barber Freedom Convoy trial, which continues, and I'll let you know what's happening as soon as I do. Thank you. Now, I urge you today, please support this station in any way you can. Ring that bell, subscribe, because that ensures you're at least going to continue to be able to watch these episodes. You'll beat the algorithm. But more importantly, I need your financial support. I hate to ask, but that's what I'm doing. I made a decision to pursue independent media because I believed it was the best possible route for me to take as a journalist and as a concerned citizen of Canada. So you can become a part of that. And at only $5, you can become a part of that on YouTube, on Substack, and with Buy Me a Coffee, a one-time donation. But I need your support. And from the bottom of my heart, I thank you. If you've already done that, if you're already supporting the station, thank you. But if you haven't, make that decision today.